Hello.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good, good. How was your lasagna?
Well, it's a bit of an up and down story, really.
Oh no.
I was so hungry it burnt my mouth. So
Oh crap. That's the
yeah,
worst.
yeah. I
Sorry.
used to I used to always get pizza burn when I went to the dentist. So it was like on my dental records, man. Pizza burn. How are
How do
you?
they when you go to the dentist for that, do they just like give you a bunch of numbing stuff? What do they do for that?
No, it's just I just remember like they talk about notes, and I'm very lucky. I think it was the fear of I had a filling. I think I had a filling. I'm not sure what I had. It was like a minor thing, but it
Mm,
reminded me of the beginning of RoboCop. It was like a mass. It
mm,
felt really scary. So since then, I floss twice a day, brush my teeth twice a day, always look after them.
yeah.
So I've had nothing else since, luckily. But I do know genetics play part of how your teeth are, regardless, even if you do look after
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, I just remember because my wife's a dental practitioner.
Oh.
She basically said to me, "Yeah, it's on like the records that I have regular pizza burn. That's what they call it. But it's lasagna burn this time or something." So yeah, I mean, she could be lying. She could be just trying to make me
Try to eat
slow down.
less pizza or something.
That would be great. I absolutely love pizza, man. So yeah, how are you then? You said you've been really ill. What happened?
Oh yeah, I was just I went to every time I travel I get sick, like
Mm.
at some point, and that's just what happened. Like I think
What
I
is it?
heard
Because you
someone
run
sneeze.
down, jet lag or something, or
No, I had like a weird flu type thing that I didn't want to put on the headset or anything in bed. I just had to knock out for a couple days, and yeah, I'm better now. All good. It was on the way back. I heard I started to like sniffle on the plane back. I'm like, oh crap, here we go.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it can happen, man. You supplementing and stuff? You do use supplements and stuff?
I just do like the normal one a day vitamin type thing. I don't really do anything else other than that. But
Yeah, I'm supplemented to the fucking max, mate. I'm like, I do basically I do a pre sort of low testosterone mix,
mm.
be it at 45. So I have like I mean I can send you all the stuff I have, man. I take about 5 tablets every morning.
Oh
I've had creatine for the last decade, between 5 and 10 grams a day. So yeah, and it helps, man. Well, apparently it fucking helps, that's what they say. So
yeah, I do feel I might need to start doing more stuff. I mean, I know like I'm only yeah, I turned 32 this year, but
mhm.
my body's starting to the metabolism and all that stuff starting to slow down, like obviously. And I'm like, oh man, can't do all the stuff I did 5 years ago and all that already. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
everything I do is for longevity basically at the gym. Like, yeah, everything. Because I don't wanna stoop over when I get older, and everyone I
yeah,
seem to know, like, as they get older and they die, it almost starts from a fall.
hmm
Oh, they fell over and they
yeah,
broke their hip or they broke their leg or something. So, yeah, I try to basically stay strong in that way for bone density and other bits because I just don't wanna be weak and fragile.
yeah, yeah,
That's my whole ethos. So I guess we can just roll straight into the episode unless you've got
yeah.
anything. We haven't got any notes, have we? We're just going to roll with it unless you
I
have got
don't
notes.
have notes. I just think I have a lot of like topics that aren't really like news things, but I've been like thinking about them because I've been like well, let me put it this way, because I just said before to you that I went on a trip, right? And whenever I go on a trip, I try to like always incorporate XR into my trips. Like I went to all the national parks and I brought like my VR camera that captures VR footage, and I brought some 360 cameras and drones so I can do the 3D scanning with them and everything. And then I kind of just want to talk about all the different things as we are today because I think it'd be interesting for some people. maybe who because there's always the side of where like there's gaming in VR, there is media production in VR, there is productivity in VR, and I think there's a lot of sides that people just don't get to hear about. And because I kind of just dabble with them, I can kind of talk about them because I've just been immersing myself in them for the past few years and seeing what sucks still and what
Mm,
has gotten better. So I'd like to talk some about that, and we can also talk about the some of the stuff I did because there was Display Week, which is my favorite event every year. It's a just every big company comes show off like either displays that are coming soon or displays that might be coming out in 5 years from now. And
oh, so you get to actually test these things?
Yeah. Like they have them. They usually have them on benches. You get to peer your eyes through every single one if they're VR and AR. And the one thing I want to take away is, everyone's in our industry is obviously very down and like, oh, no one's
Mm.
investing in it anymore and stuff. I saw. I would say I see no different. Like you go to these display events and you have the biggest companies, and they're still dedicating tons of show floor space with just VR AR displays because those companies are still getting investments because you go to like a pre-show VR AR summit at the display week and you'll see packed to the brim with everyone from the industry and you'll see a bunch of Apple badges, Meta badges. There's still a lot of people at these top companies that are know this is inevitable one day. It's just we have to get all the every single piece to get closer to what everyone expects from the form factor and
So
visuals and everything.
when people say we're early, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
heard everyone say that, and
Yeah.
we've spoken about on this show that we're kind of in a false reality of where we think VR is because of
Yeah.
what Meta did to the ecosystem and stuff. Um, so what you're saying is like you think that there's still more to come. This is
Oh
like,
yeah. Like
yeah,
even the resurgence of VR with Palmer Luckey and Oculus and everything, like VR already died once back in the 90s and it was there was still stuff going on and companies were releasing like these display HMDs throughout the 2000s, but obviously there was a big technological leap, mostly with the tracking side of things, that caused Oculus to start up and cause a big uproar in this industry and everything.
mm,
Um, I kind of feel like something will happen like that again, and I don't even think it'll be that long, honestly. Like if you think about the time between the 90s to 2012 time, that's like a long time, but I think just way how technology is progressing and all these pieces are being pushed by different other tech sectors that are going on. Like I know it's kind of a it's ironic to bring up AI, but there's a lot of stuff like that is being built for AI that will actually, I think, also benefit a lot of stuff that benefits AR, VR as well. And just something will just accidentally pop up that will go into our side of things, and I think will resurge interest as well as some of the products that I think the new focuses. Like, I know everyone's talking about how comfortable the Steam frame is,
yeah.
and like those little things that people have not focused on, even in this big wave of VR, I would say for the most part, is now becoming like front and center. Like I think all the headsets that are coming out the next couple of years are all going to be like comfort first. Um, all these little things I just think will trickle, and there will be like a time where things come back. But if I can talk about the display week stuff, I have like a few highlights that I'd like to bring up
Dude,
from
go for
that.
it. We're basically we're rolling anyway. We're like,
Okay.
I mean, as soon as you join, it starts recording, so like we
Yeah,
can just
yeah.
roll with it. But one thing I wanted to ask,
Oh
like,
yeah.
you saw the displays, so
Uh-huh.
is there like a convergence of AI glasses and VR products to the point where because everything I know about VR has always been, apart from the Oculus Rift, which was oddly very comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't really found a headset that's been as comfortable as that kind of since,
Right.
But obviously there was no real hardware in it in comparison to what we have with standalone. I'm wondering, are we in like a medieval time of VR? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is there going to be eventually a convergence where what we think VR headsets look like, they're not necessarily going to be like that. They're going to be like Steam Frame, to be honest,
Mhm.
very small,
Yeah.
lots of portability, very balanced, very comfortable. You think like these are the things that people are focusing on now more so?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest focus right now, from all the companies. And like, people know the Phoenix, Meta Phoenix thing. Their next like big bet on not like Meta's right now is all about the AI glasses and somewhat the
Yeah,
display glasses as well. But they're still working on this big. It's technically a mixed reality thing, and it's gonna be like super small form factor. Um, Trying to make it look like a thin pair of goggles slash glasses type thing. Pico's also going that route with their next big headset. I just think that's where everyone's doing right now because I think frankly because obviously as well the pricing of all these things are not cheap
yeah,
when they launch, so they're like, okay. We don't think we're gonna sell huge volumes of these new products coming out like we were doing back in the metaverse boom, but at least if we can get people using these things more and seeing what they use regularly because they're not just taking off because they're uncomfortable, that will be valuable to us as we are in this like sort of like you said, medieval phase. Exactly, to
Yeah,
getting
because
there.
I think I made a second video about Steam Frame, and it was only more of a spiel about how I feel when I go into like the Steam Frame Reddit and stuff. And I know I'm not the biggest YouTuber in the world, but when I looked at a lot of videos, comfort didn't really seem to be a focus. And for me personally, because I'm in VR so much every day,
Yeah,
testing stuff, ever since I use that headset, that's all I keep thinking about. I'm like,
yeah,
because it adds retention to everything. You know, like I know you talk. I mean, to be fair, man, I don't know how you wear Apple Vision Pro for the length of time you do, because
yeah.
when I last tried that headset, obviously you have the extra band, I'm assuming, that goes over the top of the head. Um, but that is a crazy heavy headset. That
Yeah.
how much does it weigh?
If you're wearing the double band, it's around 800 grams,
Right.
which is a
So
lot.
how was it when they basically showed it in the trailers with just the rear band? How
Yeah,
did
that's
that?
actually what I'm wearing right now, surprisingly. I sometimes go between them, for different reasons, but it with the only single knit, it's like, 650 grams, I believe, around there. Obviously, that doesn't include the battery, tether and everything, that's
Yeah,
just what's
yeah,
on your
yeah.
head. But yeah, it's not. It's again, it's like I do this all the time, and I always tell people like, look at me like a zoo animal because that's how I treat this whole thing. Is like it's an experiment to figure out. All, I think there's value in figuring out all these things. Like I still believe that the spatial computing and the way to use these devices as multimedia and just do everything will just happen one day. Like, I don't know when it will happen or how fast or slow, but immersing myself in these things I think is just valuable to me. And I whenever people are like, should I do this too? I always tell them no because you're probably just not going to want to wear it longer than an hour
Yeah.
for
You'll
most
end up with a
people.
neck like the Hulk. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. Look at that beautiful
Beautiful thick
digital
neck,
neck. But
giga neck. Um,
yeah. But
yeah, yeah. So
it's
that's
it's good
good
stuff.
news. And I'm hoping. Obviously, I'm very interested in gaming,
Hmm.
and I don't know how that's going to fit in. But as far as I know, like gaming is still a massive moneymaker.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping, with what you're saying and some imagination, that there's going to be a bit of a lull for this stuff, you know, and then maybe in a couple of years it'll all start picking up again. Because I've also heard that, I mean, this is all X
Mhm.
stuff on X, is that Apple are definitely going to be making another Vision Pro
Oh
at
yeah,
some point.
eventually.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they're already like they're still working on it. It's not a dead thing forever.
Oh,
It's just
you saw the rumors like I did when
I saw
people,
the room.
yeah,
I think I talked to you about this privately, but I don't like to add fire onto these things because whenever someone big, journalists or not even just journalists, but maybe a rumor website posts something
mm,
about this, it's already like I don't want to say demoralizing for the people who literally work at these companies every day on these projects. But if I went out there and like kind of got into arguments with them, I feel like I just don't feel it benefits anyone. I'd rather just kind of sit quietly,
yeah,
wait
yeah.
for it to happen. Like, and that's the thing is like I said, the display week is some of these displays can come out in 5 years from now. Like, and it might need to take that long before we do this. And Apple's a company that they don't release something, especially a next generation product generally, unless there are pieces there that are ready for that. And I think with Vision Pro, they were probably humbled a bit with some of the reactions and stuff. So that time frame probably got pushed back further, and they want to make sure if they do this again. But we'll probably be talking about our next podcast, like all the software updates, the Vision OS, and everything, and that'll be fun. But it just like Meta's not out of this market. Sorry, just like Meta's not out of this market. Apple's not out of it. Google's not out of it. They're just
So
takes time.
what companies are at this thing? Like, what were the ones that you would say like held the most floor space and,
Oh yeah, it's,
you know?
it's all of them you've heard of. Like Samsung's there, LG's there. LG doesn't really do much VR stuff. BOE, which humongous company. They're the ones who always supply, like they're all in all the Quest headsets and everything. TCL is another big company. I think they're pretty famous now, especially for TVs, but they also supply a lot of displays for like a lot of the Vario and Pimax stuff. But they're all there. They're all showing off what they're doing. I want to talk about Samsung just for a minute because Samsung's they are focused primarily on the micro displays, OLED stuff, Micro-OLED, like what's in Vision Pro, big screen beyond, all that. And I always like to talk about what they're working on because they always have a huge dedicated section with their partnership, Imagine. And just, I like talking about them because I've been covering this company for actually probably almost 5 years now. And it's been really cool because earlier on, I got to see early prototypes where they didn't even have the colors right. Things were just so broken and like that you would just see this little like makeshift like motherboard with the display plopped on there, and then the next year you would see, oh, they fixed that problem and things have progressed, and then Samsung bought them and like they were making they like exploded in how quick they were developing the technology, and they were showing off like last year they showed off like 5K per eye 15,000 nits micro OLED displays
Wow.
and like all this stuff at the like around the same display sizes as what's in Vision Pro and Galaxy XR. And this year they didn't really show anything new, but they did something that I think when you go to these shows that are all just like displays put on a table with like a little, you put your head down and you just kind of look through a little glass. They do that because you can't really judge how developed that technology for the display is. Like they usually run it at 100% constantly, and there's no movement. They'll just have a slideshow of photos. But this year, Samsung they took their Galaxy XR headset, but instead of having what is normally in it, they have like the newest technology in combination with this Imagine company, which is basically it's 4K per eye, but it's 10,000 nits from the display, and that's a single layer, which is like super low power, super efficient, higher color contrast, and you get to put on the full headset and look around and everything. And one of the biggest complaints people have about micro OLED in the current generation is you see the motion blur, the persistence blur, and
Right.
everything, but it's not in that headset like at all. The motion clarity is perfect. It's like it feels like the actual what the true generation like first gen of micro OLED should be, but due to many reasons, that technology has taken a while to get into mass production. Still isn't quite there, but it's just cool to be able to see something like that evolve over time, and it took a lot of investment and time to do
Mm.
this. Um, and we even see Meta is going to start investing in micro OLED for their next headset. I even heard that they had two different display choices. I want to say it was probably TCL. They paid a bunch of money to make their own LCD display for the Phoenix project, and they also were talking to two micro OLED companies, and whichever they thought gave the best visuals and product, they would just go with. And everyone's been saying that it's the micro OLED that was won out, and they're targeting like a size and specification so that they can sell Phoenix at a considerably fair price. Because micro OLED in itself is still quite low volume. Like Apple literally worked with Sony to build the displays, and Sony only has like one fab in Japan to do this. Um, and Meta's working with some Chinese fabs, and the main Chinese fab that they're working with are literally clearing out all of their production lines just to focus on Meta because they know it's like, oh, it's huge volume, and it's actually the same manufacturer for big screen and the upcoming Pimax Dream Air SE display as
Oh.
well. So hopefully that they got all the supply they needed because they are fully focused, and all these things coming together. I know I'm talking a lot, but it's like really important. Is like there was another company called SidTech, who's a micro OLED focused company. They only had one major fab, but they're building two more, so they're tripling their output basically in the next couple of years. And all of this is kind of happening, so it's like all these things where it's like, oh my god, Apple, Google, Meta are all releasing these super expensive display technology. But there was a period of time where it was unthinkable for people to even buy a 1080p LCD monitor of good quality because of how expensive it was at the time. And a lot of these things are just coming into place to make it more affordable. Now, there is one more thing I will talk about from Display Week. Now, stop talking about Display Week.
Listen, you can't have a podcast with too much talking. So yeah, please continue.
Sorry, it's just I want to just talk about all these things because I will have probably talk more about like more. There was a lot of displays, but I just want to talk about the two ones I think most people are kind of interested of the progression. Now, there was another thing that was going around, and this is actually interesting from if you follow Apple rumors too, because there was this Apple Vision Air, as people were calling it, and the idea was it was going to be a cheaper headset compared to the Vision Pro. And from what I understand, is they originally reached out to companies for a certain set of specifications for what display they wanted to put in this Vision Air. And these companies, including Samsung, and I think it was mostly Samsung, but there's a couple other Chinese companies, kept lowering the specifications of the samples they would send because they just did not think that it was going to be possible anytime soon to reach the standards that Apple wanted. And what they were doing is they're basically taking a lot of processes they're making to have these high pixels per inch Micro-OLED displays, which are literally deposited on silicon, which is what chips are made on. But they're also but this new way is to try to take some of those processes and do it on glass, which is what standard OLED displays are made on. It's like a higher quality glass than what the current mobile phone OLED panels are made on, but that was the thing. And they requested 1700 PPI. Was like, okay, if you can do that, we might go for it. And I guess they keep coming back saying, no, we can only do 1500 PPI or whatever. Either way, that iteration of the Vision Air just got canceled because you can ask who different opinions of why it got canceled, but one of the reasons I think is the display. And there was actually a company, TCL, who brought, this was the first time I've seen this in real life, brought one of these Micro-OLED on glass, basically is what I like to call it, panels. And I looked through it. I can see many problems visually with this technology in its current state. It doesn't have issues with pixel gap or anything. Like, it's got good PPI, but every pixel was showing color fringes. So like, if you ever think about what chromatic aberration looks like on the edges of some headset lenses, it was like that, but at the edges of every pixel, which is a terrible viewing experience. It could not replicate even the sample images they were showing on the show floor. So yeah, it's very important, I think, for a company like Apple or Google or whatever to, before they release a headset, to actually have a pretty good visual quality, especially these days. But yeah, from what I've seen, it seems like that cheaper Micro OLED on glass is just not good yet. And there was some also LCDs that were pretty good, but LCDs, even when you keep bumping up the pixels per inch and the resolution, they still suffer from having larger pixel gaps. So even at like, I think I saw something like it was a 6K by 3K single. It was a single, like I guess it was meant to be in like a future generation cheap Quest product, but like with a high resolution. But even that, like, you still can see, if you had text on the screen, you would still see like the pixels, not just because of the PPI, but just the pixel gap is a huge problem for LCD. But yeah, Micro OLED is progressing and getting much cheaper because of all the investment, especially in China, to build more fabs. It's getting better. Some of the problems with the current generation of Micro OLED are being solved. BOE also showed off Micro OLED at 20K nits as well, which is, it sounds like a high number, but when it gets to your eyes, it's more to fix the motion clarity stuff. But yeah, I'm done. It's awesome. Good stuff. A lot of development still happening there.
That's cool. So like, I take it you coming back from these shows just makes you feel kind of reinvigorated, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. And it's just, again, it's not even just when I was doing the Samsung headset demo with the newer displays, it was around the same time that there was a couple of Meta engineers that were also in line to do it, because I guess one of them just tried it and told the lady who was managing the booth. Oh crap, this is way better than any of our products. And I guess he brought his other meta engineer to come try it too, because they're all nerding out over this display. Now, of course, it's better than their products. Their products are all like LCD, so like that's a very
Yeah.
different price difference. But even just seeing people who work at Meta and Apple get excited, and it's all that stuff together, where it's like, there's still all these people are basically being paid to be quiet all the time and just kind of handle the constant beration of the online news journalists in our sector. But there's still a lot of passion and love and development happening with this technology, and it's good to come back from that.
Beautiful. I'm assuming this is, as you said, a very long way away. By the sounds of it, I'd love to go to one of these shows though, because I think a lot of people miss that. I think a lot of people, as you said, we're literally at the mercy of these outlets, these news outlets. And what's the one that always craps on VR, dude?
There's a lot of them. I feel
there
like
is a lot
days.
of them, but there's one, and it begins with a B, I think.
Is it Bloomberg?
Bloomberg. I think it's Bloomberg. I think it's
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to like the Vision Pro stuff. Yeah,
it's a real shame, because I was looking at the software library. It's slowly growing, isn't it?
Slowly. Yeah. It's what we were talking about before. Like I think one of the things I was like, when we were having kind of a down episode, and I kind of like said, well, one of the benefits of all this is all the grifters have left, and the people that are still developing for this technology now are just actually super passionate about it and like love it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like even more so on platforms or on Vision Pro, where there's freaking no money to be made by releasing apps on Vision OS. But people are excited about it still and want to develop little things. Valve released freaking Steam Link on Vision OS, which is freaking awesome for me. Now I don't even have to use Moonlight to connect to my Windows PC most of the time. And what was awesome about that is I was able to give feedback, and they actually, like, every time I gave feedback, they actually updated the app to have all the stuff I wanted. And that was great. They even thanked me on Twitter. I was like, oh crap, this is awesome. I feel so good about this. So
that is awesome. That's why I love playtesting, because when you see the outcome of your input, you know that not only are you becoming satisfied by it, you're helping everyone else and the users. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I've actually got a Q&A section today.
Oh, frick.
I don't know how. I haven't updated it yet, so I'm going to run through these questions quickly if I can.
Are these from viewers and stuff?
Yeah. Just on the channel, I put a community post. That's not a question. How much of an impact do you guys think the Steam Frame controllers will have on VR mods? I mean, the 4-button layout, the buttons are there, so I don't think it will have an impact.
I think people still target the Quest controllers, and that's the thing about Steam Input, is it's just so useful. Like, I got the Steam controller last week, and because they built all that, like, because it's like 1-to-1 with the Steam Deck, all the people that have been building community input profiles for all the games for Steam Deck just automatically work on the Steam controller.
Yeah.
Which is like freaking wild. It's like 5D chess type stuff, but it's cool.
Okay. Next question is it insane to get into VR right now as a dev? I know a few of us just starting out or recovering from layoffs and going indie. How hard will it be for a solo micro dev team in the short term? I mean, to me personally, and I'm assuming this is about gaming, it really depends on, well, there's so many different things it depends on, actually. Like, I wouldn't even say graphics make a good game all the time. They definitely help. But I think something unique is what people are looking for.
Yeah.
More so. And if anything, the indie scene is really an unknown at the moment. And in gaming, it tends to be the indies that are rocketing forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really I don't know. It's hard for sure. Like, if you're how long is your development time, you think, for your projects? Like, because if it's like 2 years, it's going to be a lot of work for maybe not much payoff, realistically. But yeah.
Next question: will the Quest 4 use Holo cake lenses? Well, that's one question. Do you know that?
No, that's a really expensive technology.
Okay, I don't know. I've never even heard of it. And how much better do you think they will be over Pancake? Well, I guess that's the question. Is Hollow Cake better than Pancake?
Uh, so I'll just explain what Holo Cake is because I think it's actually interesting, and there's something from Display Week I can bring up in comparison to this topic. So,
Awesome.
Holo Cake is pretty much architecturally the same as pancake lenses. So pancake lenses usually have like multiple layers of plastic or glass to bounce the light with what they call quarter wave plates. Now the problem is when they bounce the light back and forth, it's already obviously very inefficient, but also because they're using multiple plastic or glass layers, the lenses still are pretty thick technically. Like I know we've gotten much thinner headsets because of pancake lenses, but the actual optics itself, you were like put Fresnel lenses like side by side by taking out them two different headsets, it would look thick. But Holocake tries to take holographic lens technology and kind of put that as one of the replacing either one or multiple layers of glass or plastic, because the
Hmm.
whole idea of holograms is bending light, recording a way to bend light with very thin either layers made of silicon, or you can also do it with liquid crystals, ironically. The problem is they're very difficult to manufacture with a lot of other scenarios, but it's like the next step. Everyone thinks it's probably going to be the next gen of Pancake, and it'll make headsets even thinner and lighter as well. But I just don't think you'll see that in a cheap product anytime soon. So
Okay, so we're thinking we're going to be Pancake for quite a while.
yeah, which Pancake is improving. The one thing from Display Week, BOE, they showed off a 38% efficiency Pancake lens. Now that might not mean anything, but most Pancake lenses, at least for OLED, is 10% efficient. So them going from 10% to 38% is like almost a trip.
What
Like
do you
it's like
mean
a
in terms of efficiency? Is this like
light,
performance, light, what, weight, cost?
just light, getting the light through. So
Right.
they literally had a little demo where you can look through both eyes, and one eye was the newer Pancake lens, and the one was like the standard generation, and it was double the brightness of the older one, and it was
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
obvious. So that
And
stuff's improving slowly too in the back end.
okay, thoughts on the new XR chip shown off at the Shanghai XR event? What can be
Uh,
expected? Okay, that's one question. Do you know what he's talking about?
yeah. Yeah, he's talking about the Gravity XR stuff. I made a video early January where I actually got to visit that company who's making that chip. And they keep showing off like reference designs that include it. The idea is to use it's like the Apple R1 chip that they put in the headset to work alongside the M2 or M5. But this is a startup company. They're designing and making their own chips, and the idea is to work with other companies, whether it be like maybe Pico or whatever. Um, and they put this small chip that renders all the cameras and all the low latency stuff, and then the idea is to either plug it into a compute puck or a phone or a laptop to do all the heavy processing. And I don't think anything they show off was exactly new, but it's literally all the, I think every headset you're going to see from Meta, from Pico, or whatever, are all using kind of this co-processing design anyway.
Right.
It's very valuable. It's like just again to get the lighter form factor, get some of that processing off the face. That's how they're kind of cheating to get smaller form factors in these next gen products. It's good. I saw it.
Cool. What can be expected from Pico and Meta this year?
Pico's still getting
Yeah,
ready
yeah,
to launch. Yeah.
that's a worldwide release this time as well, isn't it? As far as
I
I know.
I think so, but I think they might have. I don't think they're targeting consumer too much. Like their consumers will probably be able to buy it, but I think it's still going to be higher end, more enterprise focused. But that's been pushed back to a fall release, as far as I know. But I've heard, if you just want to know like how good it is, I've heard some really amazing things about the hardware. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, even though I probably won't daily drive it, but just to see. It was the biggest let me put it this way. So Gore-Tech, who is the manufacturer for PlayStation, Meta headsets, like all most major headsets, this headset basically Pico just paid a lot of money to Gore-Tech to help develop it and make it the most advanced thing that Gore-Tech can make for a VR headset. So
Sure.
that's pretty exciting, even though it's gonna be really expensive. But yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, from this one person, any ideas where Sony might go with VR? Like I guess, in the terms of maybe a PSVR 3 or more continued VR modes for big games like GTA. I don't think either of us can answer that. Unless you've seen anything from Sony apart from the working headsets they're using to like manufacture stuff.
I don't know anything.
Cool. If Microsoft can use satellites to make Flight Simulator, can another company use Google Street View for a walking VR simulator to visit places at ground level?
I just saw something about that on Twitter
I was going to
today.
say, I'm sure it's on Upload that there's something to do with Google Street View.
Yeah, but even just that, like I saw, they had that. So Google's doing their big I/O conference literally today, as we're right before we started talking, and they're showing off some of their new AI stuff. And one of the things they're working on is like typing in a prompt to build a game world, and it will just like work type thing. But obviously, the games are not really games, but they're combining that technology with Google Street View. So
That's right.
anytime you build a prompt, you can say, "Hey, I want to build a game where you walk through the streets of London," and they'll use the Street View data to create a map of London and put that in. So I can see very easily how that's relatable to what this question is being talking about at some point for VR.
Yeah, for sure. Next question is when Deckard?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I honestly, it was stupid. I really thought today or tomorrow, which would be today for everyone else when this goes live, that it was going to happen this week. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I wish no one knows today.
It seems I kind of feel like Steam Machine will launch first at this point, but
Yeah, I've got that feeling too, actually. I've got that feeling too that Steam Machine will come first. More so because they probably want to do I mean, there's obviously a far bigger audience for Steam Machine than Steam Frame.
I think also the software in Steam Frame is still like much more complex than what. Wait, what? I mean, the software on Steam Frame is much more complex
Yeah,
than
you did say that. Yeah.
on Steam Machine. So,
Yeah. I've decided I am buying a Steam Machine now.
I think I will
100%.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool just to have like those Steam games on my main TV in the house. That'd be pretty
There will
awesome.
be interesting content seeing what you can run in VR with it, because even though the hardware is not like super amazing, but they are still trying to say, hey, you can. They actually updated their rating system in the back end last week, I believe, where literally games will be able to say on Steam Machine if it's compatible when streaming a game to Steam Frame from Steam Machine.
Oh, that is interesting.
So, yeah.
Another question. If I can only afford one headset, should I sell my Quest 3 to buy Steam Frame? Lately, I've been playing more UVR mods and PC flat games converted with 3D with reshade.
Oh.
Than any native VR games, than any native Quest 3 games. I think since we don't know the release date of Steam Frame, it's very hard to tell someone to sell their Quest 3 because it could still be 3 months away.
And I feel like the experience for what you're using Quest 3 for will not be that different, except for like, the whole dongle thing on Steam Frame that gives you the dedicated connection. But if you already have a good router, I heard some people even from Valve are just saying like it's still Valve doesn't care what headset you're using as long as you're playing Steam games is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's actually only 3 more questions. I do apologize if this is taking a while. There's one asking the meaning of life. There's another one asking if we like Scooby-Doo. Do you like Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, I used to watch when I was a kid. There was the episode over the carnival robot that freaked me the heck out as a kid growing up. I don't know why.
There you go. If anyone's got any fears of the carnival, Brad understands. Thoughts on Pico OS 6?
I don't have many thoughts on it. It just seems like a lot with like what Meta's doing. Everyone's kind of trying to catch up to what Vision OS is doing. I know that's maybe a lot of people don't like me saying that, but that's really what's going on for a lot of these operating systems. And Pico's doing a good job though. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think the state of the Quest 3 I dread every software update at the moment. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. The current state of Linux VR gaming. Can the average Joe use Bazzite? This is completely for you and not for me at all. Can the average Joe use Bazzite or Kachos?
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I'm glad you.
I don't know how to. I don't
right.
know how to say it, but I know exactly what they're writing. Yeah.
Cool. With
It sounds
VR
way
today,
better.
can it be used for VR today? Is the question.
Yeah. Luckily, I have not used it myself in a while, but I have a lot of people in my community who are Linux nerds, and they've been saying that SteamVR has been way like night and day better on Linux than it was even a year ago, which a year ago probably would have been considered unusable. So all that stuff that they're building, like again, if Valve's building new stuff, new software stacks for just their own Linux machines, like the Steam machine and Steam Frame that are both running on Linux, a lot of that stuff just naturally tricks down to the other distros on Linux. Yeah, I can't tell you, like I haven't tweeted this, but every time there's a Steam VR beta update, there's so much of the old systems being just completely ripped out and replaced brand new. So like
Really?
it is like, especially I think it was the last big beta number was just like a massacre for some of the old systems that was written all the way back in like 2014 to 2016 era. Just all were being replaced with the new stuff that is better. So yeah.
Yeah. And the last question is: will Steam Frame and Steam Machine come with any new games similar to how Valve Index and Steam Deck launched with exclusive bundle titles in the past? I think we've already spoken about this briefly about perhaps a Half-Life, and I think everyone would love that. I can't see it launching without hardware, but I actually don't know, nor do you. So,
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Yeah.
me personally, man, like in history, every single bit of hardware is launched with software in some way.
Yeah. It would be really odd, especially in today's
It would be odd, but
XR
the problem
climate.
is when you talk about both of these, they technically already have a massive library already.
Yeah,
That's the problem. Like
that's true.
the biggest library and the most popular gaming store in the world, isn't it? Steam, pretty sure.
Yeah, I probably like I still always say this, like if they don't have even just a port of Half-Life Alyx running standalone, that's just
It's a missed
yeah,
opportunity, man.
yeah.
It will
I
be a
don't care.
shame.
I don't just do it. Like I don't know. I know it's hard because I've seen some of the problems with that's what I'm saying. The software in Steam Frame still is going through a lot of work where something
Yeah,
like that might need more time to bake.
yeah. As I
So
said, man, like I saw it in there running on that hardware, and it wasn't great, but
yeah,
it was still amazing. You know,
yeah.
it was
Just
still
the idea,
like, oh
yeah.
my god, this is actually working. It was a real shocker. It was a real
Yeah.
shocker, especially if you just stood still because you're kind of like, this actually looks good.
You get a glimpse of what could be.
Yeah, yeah. So, I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about are these meta layoffs. Like, I only
Oh
picked up on
yeah.
it today. 8,000 people apparently,
Uh-huh.
uh, and apparently they get a text message.
Oh yeah, they told everyone to work remotely that day. Yeah.
That is insane. So, I
Yeah.
guess if you were told to work at home, you were going to lose your job.
No, they made everyone work remote. So everyone's not sure if they're gonna get that text message. They're just waiting there in the morning.
That's insane. My God, that is absolute. That's barbaric. That is next level barbarism. Like, I don't know if that's a word, but it is just
Yeah.
that's unreal. That's unreal. 8,000 people. How many? Like, that's one person potentially in 8,000 families, and the knock-on
Yeah.
effect to that to everyone else is just massive. But I'm assuming that all these people were at some point hired because they thought the company was going in one direction and now it's going in a different direction.
Yeah, they just wanna I literally saw today that it's just even more reorganization to get as many people into their AI work as possible. So that's all it is. It's just these data centers are expensive. Building AI is expensive. Meta's not leading like at all in the AI stuff. Like you,
Yeah, man. And I know, but one thing I sort of learned about is stocks and shares and
Mhm.
all this sort of business because I kind of got into that about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's very surprising that this kind of could end up being for them another Quest scenario
Yeah.
where they're just chucking all this cash in there and maybe nothing comes out. But I do feel they have got the hardware to kind of deliver something more than everyone else has at the same time. But it'll only be a matter of time until Apple or someone else launch something similar.
I think like this is just a personal opinion real quick to talk about like potential winners, losers of the AI boom slash bubble. I feel like Google is the most like it just fits into what they're doing on a daily basis way better. But I also think AI makes a lot of sense for Meta to invest a lot in. Maybe not in the point where they're doing today and like recently to where they're just murdering their workforce for it. But it makes sense. Like I hate always saying this because I know it's just like crazy, but it makes more sense for Facebook company to be focused so much on AI than it does for them to be focused on a
Gaming.
VR gaming headset. Yeah. So
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. I mean, 10 years ago or whatever it was, you would never have considered Facebook being something to do or being what it is now. Yeah. The Ray-Ban thing always made sense. I was like,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
this makes complete sense.
yeah,
And I think they're a very cool product. I don't know how popular they are. Apparently they are pretty popular.
yeah. They're selling like I think they sold 8-9 million past year or something.
Yeah.
That's
They
like
are
that's
cool, man.
good. Yeah.
They are cool. They are very cool. Have you got a
Um,
pair?
I I actually bought the non-display and the display ones, but I basically gave them both away. I never
Oh, yeah,
really.
the ones with the Neuroband and stuff?
Yeah, that one I actually liked the ones without the display more than I liked the ones with the display. Ironically, it was just kind of annoying having only one eye display. I felt like it was more distracting than just doing the same functionality without a display than it was having only your one eye, and all that stuff going on there. Technology is cool, but I just don't use it. If I want to put something on my face, it's gotta like do something freaking incredible for me. I know most people are not like that, but for me, that's how I feel about it. Yeah,
No, I get that, dude. I absolutely, and I understand what you're saying about the other rate, I guess the non-display version of Ray-Bans, because they kind of can be something, which is why I use them. One, they're sunglasses. Two,
yeah,
you can play music. Three, you can do all your text messaging. Four, it can translate languages if you're in a different
yeah,
country. It can tell you where you are, what you're looking at, all these different things. As I guess with the display thing, really, unless you're going to walk around doing this with your hand all the time,
yeah.
um, I'm not sure. But I haven't used them. The only AR
hmm
glasses I've used are Snapchat.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
The
I mean,
Snapchat ones are pretty impressive, but they're
yes.
still really bulky. But yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I was very lucky. They invited me to their London, like headquarters, I guess. I was very surprised. I was like, me? But I went in there and they showed me like the AR thing where like you can stand in front of a mirror and try on clothes that you might potentially wear. And then I played like a multiplayer game with someone in the room. I was really surprised how good it was. But again, yeah, they're like out here. They're
yeah,
not, you wouldn't wear them. You just simply wouldn't wear them.
yeah. They're actually probably less comfortable than some very comfortable headsets, ironically, because they usually put all that weight on your nose, which
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's AR is a hard thing. So I'm not like I appreciate Snap for doing like they've been doing it for like a long time and they keep pushing it, so good for them. I did want to mention like since we're talking about the Meta Ray-Ban display, this is a news thing that happened this week with them is they did launch like a whole SDK where developers can actually make web-based apps, but like you see like people installing Doom.
Oh, I saw Nathan, yeah, playing
Yeah.
Doom. Yeah.
The coolest app I actually saw from all that was someone just connecting their like smart home stuff to their glasses, and they were able to like see all the lights and stuff on in their monocular. Like that stuff actually makes sense for that use case. I wouldn't imagine myself playing Doom on glasses, but
The only reason I did, and I said it to Nathan, I was like, you can't strafe.
yeah,
Like in Doom, you strafe all the
yeah,
time. You never just walk forward, stop, turn. Like you're always strafing, dude. Which made me ask, like, why you can't use your left hand.
Yeah, because it only connects to one band at a time.
Why is that?
It's just trying to be as easy as possible, and obviously, again, I don't think people will be doing anything like that generally on it, even if it just was common. It's just a meme to put Doom on everything. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I saw someone put it on a pregnancy test.
yeah,
On X, you're like, wow,
that's like true Doom right there. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
But look, you're already in it now. You're in the circle, man. You're in the
Yeah.
circle of kids.
Yeah, she's doing great, by the way. Very good.
Yeah, nice. My daughter's literally about to finish school. That's how old she is.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It goes really quick. Goes really quick. Blink and you'll miss it, literally. But yeah, man. This is a very it's a bit like our upload schedule, really. Bit of a fly by the seat of your pants episode.
Can I rant about one more thing?
You could, dude. The floor is always yours.
Yeah. So the one thing I did, I kind of talked about this again, but I brought my I want to talk about immersive video, like 180-degree VR, because it's come a long way. Obviously, it was quite a big focus for Apple as well. I don't really want to talk about what Apple's doing with it. I just want to talk about like the workflow and nerd stuff about it. So I have a camera that it's a Canon R5C, and it has like a lens that splits the single sensor into two and tries to give you a big FOV. Considerably affordable, but the main reason people like it is it's very portable. If you get a dedicated VR camera like the one that Apple partnered with Blackmagic, who makes not only just that camera, but they also make the very popular software.
I use it every
DaVinci
day.
Resolve.
I use it every day.
DaVinci Resolve is just amazing. Let me just say that. It is like, it keeps getting better and better, and it's free.
Yeah. And it's got Apple Vision Pro support, isn't it?
It's got Apple Vision Pro support.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I want to talk about is a couple years ago when I first started getting into this taking VR video, like stereo video kick, it was such a pain in the butt to even get to DaVinci Resolve step, because you would have to get the footage off the camera, and you could use Canon software, but Canon software is garbage, terrible, awful.
Garbage.
Yeah, so if you actually want to like stitch together like good, actual, amazing color graded, all this stuff footage, you generally had to pay like a lot of money for third-party applications, and it was a nightmare. These days, you can do almost everything in DaVinci Resolve with the same equipment. It has come such a long way. A lot of it is because, of course, that they're trying to support their camera and Apple immersive stuff. But even all that stuff has trickled down to standard 180. So like it's not even just for Apple anymore. Even people who buy that camera that's for Apple immersive, they can use that camera and just record stuff for any platform, Quest, whatever, all that video, which is awesome. But I just want to complain because it still sucks. It still like really sucks. Not even just like it really has come a long way, but at the end of the day, when you make something and you put your heart and soul into going out in location, and you have to like be very careful how you hold these cameras, because obviously since it's immersive, you cannot put it on your shoulder and just walk around like any other movie or TV can. Usually you have to station cam it or like do an expensive rig to move it slowly or whatever. And then after all of that, even still, you finally edit it through. Hope to God that, in my case, I never recommend this camera to anyone that's just wanting to dip their toes, because it has a focus ring, but sometimes this focus ring does not equally focus both eyes on the actual lens. So
Right.
you'll have,
that's a big problem.
it is a humongous problem, because you might be on like a whole day shoot or whatever, and you have like the small displays, and it's hard to see it because they're splitting both of the eyes into one display. You can zoom in, but generally it's just a pain in the butt. But anyway, you might come home and just say, wow, one eye has just been out of focus the entire time. So what's the point of even doing stereo at this point? But even like publishing, like YouTube does allow 8K VR footage with I think most platforms now, and it still doesn't look good. Frankly, like it's you can just tell it's being streamed from a web server and it's like super compressed by YouTube and everything. Like the reason why I just wanted to complain about all this is because even Apple, I would say, Apple definitely has the best delivery system for Apple Immersive, and like they clearly
Oh,
have put
dude.
all the steps to get to where they got. And some of the things people don't know about. I want that camera so bad, but I can't afford it, obviously. But it like
How
from the
much is it? How
factory.
much is it?
Oh my god, it's like $28,000 for just one of those cameras. It's expensive for sure. It's not a consumer product, but still, like that's a lot of money for something that you don't know. Like most people who are making immersive content, unless they're being funded by Apple, probably will not get their money back if they buy that camera generally. But it does some amazing stuff that like so since it has like the crazy lens on it and that's fixed lens, it has like its own metadata. Just like headsets, when you buy a headset, they usually put each headset on the manufacturing line from the major companies. They put a camera through it just so they can know every lens is built differently. They all
Yep.
have their different distortion profiles and whatever. So they on the factory line they put a camera just to like kind of save the exact data to make it the best quality visuals before it gets to customer, and that's forever saved in the headset. This camera does the same thing, and that metadata literally goes all the way to delivery, even on the headset Vision Pro. So, like, if it when your Vision Pro plays an Apple immersive video, it knows that exact like camera metadata distortion profile, so that it can like deliver perfectly to your headset. And
Yeah.
like, they put a lot of work into like making it good. But even still, even though it's the best, it's still not
I mean, you say that.
number
I know what you're
one.
saying. I know what you're saying. So, as we spoke about maybe 4 weeks ago now, 5 weeks ago, I can't remember, that I watched the weekend.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and yeah, you can still see a tiny part of compression somewhere,
Yeah,
but still, it was the best 3D experience I've ever
yeah.
had.
It
Like,
is amazing. I don't want to discount with it.
yeah,
Like I'm just saying that's the best. And like even the best
isn't good enough for Bradley. That's
it's
that's
not
that's
it's
it,
just
man.
I don't want to
That's what
say
we're
that.
saying.
It's
No,
amazing. I'm
let's
glad when
call
they
it.
release a new thing. But like that's only on one platform is the best. And like if you want to be a creator and like doing this stuff for fun and trying to figure out everything, like man, there is just no outlet for that. Like YouTube sucks at it. They suck at a lot of 3D stuff, frankly, on their
The
platform. And it's
problem
just
is
like
it's a niche. That's all it's
it
that's
is
all
neat. Yeah,
it would
yeah.
suddenly improve if everyone bought YouTube's Google 3D glasses, then suddenly overnight, fucking it would just work.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it is. That's all it is.
yeah.
That's all it is.
I just wanted to like complain because it's just I'm so passionate about this, and I love going out and capturing like these memories and environments and everything I went because I traveled California coast and Yosemite, and I just recorded some of it, and I'm like trying to sift all through this footage. I'm like, oh man, it's still a headache. It's come so far, but it's still a headache. Like all and I always talk about the hardware not being there, but even just the workflows for to create this content is still a pain in the butt. So like you're not gonna expect any consumer to like I think there is value in capturing memories in this like immersive video format, but the workflow is so freaking terrible still that's
Yeah.
even another piece upon piece to solve in this black box of pain and suffering that is XR.
Bottomless.
So yeah,
Bottomless box.
yeah, but yeah, that's why I just want to rant.
Good for you, mate. That's what this
Yeah,
show's for. I'm
yeah,
sure all those people who work for those companies are gonna watch this and they're gonna go, "Do you know what? We need to pull our socks up and get this sorted right now."
probably not. They'll be like, well, cans be. I don't know. That won't happen. I wish.
Anyway, going to this when you went to this show, did anyone know who you were? Sorry, did anyone know who you are? That's what I should have said.
Generally, a few people know who I am. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
nice.
it's also because I go every year, so they're like, oh, you're the one weirdo who brings the 3D camera to every booth. So, uh,
They're like, here comes the nerd.
Yeah, and then I'll like walk past the meta booth and I'll get some stares and points. They'll be like, "There's that guy."
There's a guy spreads the lies,
That's the lines.
or he basically shares the truth, which
Yeah.
makes it worse.
You know, Meta actually had a whole booth at Display Week, which they don't go to like any events, but they had a booth there, which is wild. Just to
Which is
know how
awesome.
they're focused on. So yeah.
That's great. That's great news, man. It's great
Yeah.
news. So yeah, I guess that is an hour-long episode in the bag. 98% Brad, 2%
Oh,
me for input.
sorry.
Dude, I when we started this, I didn't know what we was going to talk about anyway, and I'm just so happy that you've got so much to say.
All
So
this
yeah,
crap is festering in my head all the time. I just want it out. Get it
that's it, man.
out.
Share it, and I'm, I still owe you, I guess, for the Shuei Yoshida episode where, yeah, you were like, I didn't say much, but it was really good to be there. And
Hey,
that was
that was
definitely.
perfect. That was perfect for you to be the absolute king of that episode. That was there,
Oh my
nothing
god,
for me to add to that.
that is like a life box ticked. Absolutely, and the fact he's played God of War in VR just
That is cool. That is a cool story.
it's just so cool, dude. What about you for gaming, dude? Are you interested in gaming? Are you interested in any games? Are you playing any games? Have you played Forefront?
Still not. I told you, and I stand by this. I will not play a new VR game till Steam Frame comes out.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, but that might change actually because okay, random piece of news. So there was that thing. I think we talked about in a previous episode. Phobia and streaming was coming to Vision OS. Yeah, so that's a thing. However, that only worked with OpenXR
Yeah,
titles. So
yeah.
like something like VR Chat or even Half-Life Alyx, they would have to go through some crappy. I don't want to say crappy. That's not what I mean. But it would just have there'd be some layers you had to go through, and it didn't always work. However, I think another thing we might have talked about is Valve hired someone named M. Buccia, who I said before is very big on in his free time. He always made like Windows mixed reality headsets just work with SteamVR, even after Microsoft completely killed off that whole initiative. He also did a lot of stuff with the OpenXR toolkit with bunch of headsets. Well, I just saw that he's also building a whole SteamVR driver for anyone who's using the NVIDIA Cloud XR stuff, which is what Vision OS's Phobia streaming is based on, and it'll just be able to work with pretty much any SteamVR game. And that's awesome. That'll make it like way not only just visually more appealing to do PC VR on Vision Pro, but also just like
I mean, the clarity of those lenses and that'd be fucking incredible.
yeah, I think when I don't know if he is like he did publish all the code and stuff on GitHub and everything, but he seems like he's not being super public about it because it's not completely ready. But like that is a huge value add, and it benefits other headsets that tap into this Cloud XR. Like I think I read that you can tap into it via Quest if you like open up a browser and connect your PC through the browser, and it'll be able to tap into this. So imagine like you're just typing in a. This is oversimplifying, but imagine you just type in a website and it just like connects your PC, SteamVR starts, and bam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that could be a cross-platform thing over time. Like that's pretty cool.
But don't you need eye tracking to make the use of that though?
So because well, not really. If you don't have eye tracking, it'll stay static.
Yeah, you just get
Radiation.
stated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want eye tracking for all my headsets.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's the no eye tracking days are literally dead for real.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That'd be awesome, dude. Right. Well, thank you ever so much to everyone who watches the show. I'm sorry we have the consistency of warm Nutella, where we regularly don't turn up, but we had good reason not to, and we will do our best to try and do an episode every other week if possible. And just want to say thank you for hanging in there with because I still get regular DMs asking about episodes and stuff. Thank you for all your support. I'm glad you really enjoyed the show. Thank you to Brad for being here. I still wanted to get some guests on this show, but it's very hard to nail anyone down. And I think they're kind of like worried a little bit,
Really?
like, yeah, like what are we going to talk about? Or
Oh, like we're gonna give him a gotcha or something?
No, I don't know. Like, what's Brad going to talk about? What does Brad know? What have you heard? I don't know,
Yeah,
and
I understand. Yeah,
it's an interesting thing because in the past, whenever I've done podcasts, people are like, "Yeah, dude, I'm going to be there," and now they're like, I'm busy for the next 2 years." I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe
yeah.
you can't make it."
That's always been the black box of Brad. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And just to mention, it's about Voodoo. And that was a quick turnaround. That was a quick turnaround. That was like, shut this down. Was it 4 hours? 3 hours?
yeah. It was. I was a little nervous for him, honestly, when he first posted it because.
Yeah, I messaged him
Uh,
instantly, and I was like, bro, I said to him, I said, every developer's got an embargo.
yeah,
And I was like, well, first of all, I was like, did they send you that headset? And then he said, no. And I was like, fuck. Like, because honestly, and I mean this, even though I'm a content creator and probably people think I'd be jealous, I was actually happy that it would be great to see some sort of recognition
yeah.
from Valve to the VR community. And regardless of someone's reach, Voodoo's passionate and he
Right.
knows his stuff. That guy's probably got the largest headset collection ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got everything, you know? Um, so I was really gutted when he was like, no, it's a dev kit. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Because, and I read this on Reddit, someone was like, if I was him, I wouldn't have posted a video asking what people wanted to ask. I would have just reviewed it and dropped the whole video. But as far as we know, the dev kits aren't necessarily the final versions of the headset anyway.
uh,
That's what I've been told a number of times.
yeah, yeah.
I've been told
I
the
heard.
controllers are a little bit smaller potentially,
Uh,
due to a lot of feedback, and I would agree with that. And I hope that is the case. Actually, that'd be great.
yeah,
And other dev kits I've seen in the past end up looking literally nothing like.
yeah,
But I know Steam Frame will look. We've seen Steam Frame; they've advertised it. We know it's going to look the same.
yeah. There'll be. I did hear that there has been an iteration starting to be sent out to devs recently.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a
or an
final
updated
iteration, but
version. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like an updated. Most things are again, it'll look the same, but just some stuff's been tweaked a little bit. So
What's your thoughts on Moss going flat screen?
it makes sense, and anything to keep that studio in business, I'm happy
Yeah,
for them.
it's
Yeah,
an interesting thing though, isn't it, to see that great VR games are getting ported to a flat screen, as the whole ethos at one point was we need flat screen games in VR, and now
yeah,
I think that's really interesting. I
yeah.
never thought that would happen in some weird way. I never really saw it happening, and I know it's happened a number of times. And I do know even the game I'm working with, ExoShock, hybrid games are definitely going to be a thing that we're going to see so much more.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think the line between not VR and VR will be blurred in a lot of ways, just especially in this period of time.
Especially
Um,
with Steam,
oh yeah, Steam, like absolutely. Yeah,
which should be a great thing for VR. Hopefully people play a game and think, "Oh my god, I can play this in full 3D with Steam Frame," and they're in. Like
yeah.
that'd be great. That'd be awesome for everyone.
I literally saw on Left 4 Dead 2. I think this week there was a community workshop mod that was
Yeah.
published. Do you know? Yeah, it's like Left 4 Dead 2 VR, and I'm just imagining like. Imagine I can just click that and make Left 4 Dead 2 VR standalone on the Steam
Well, apparently
frame.
there's a couple of steps, but
I know,
yeah,
but
I
yeah, like
read
that's
it.
what I mean. Like over
Yeah.
time, maybe that can just because that is the superpower of PC gaming, and the Steam frame is trying to tap into like that whole it's a PC thing. So that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm really enjoying VR mods. Like, I think they're getting more advanced than ever. Playing Resident Evil 9 the other day was just it's I hate to, I don't know. I mean, I sound like you now. I hate to say this, but like, because that's what you say that so much. You're like,
I
but native VR games just don't tend to look as good as flat screen games in VR because
uh,
they weren't made for VR in the first place, and they're made by companies with pretty large budgets. So,
yeah,
like Resident Evil 9, if you dial your headset in and you're not recording, if you don't like, I don't care what anyone says, OBS takes a fucking chunk out of you. But honestly, man, without OBS, Resident Evil 9 is an absolute dream of a game to play. I was playing it, I was thinking, man, this is amazing. Like, this is absolutely incredible. And I played Subnautica again today as well, like a game I played back in 2019. There's still people, I didn't know there was people still working on the mod.
Oh,
The
wow.
Submersive mod up to the end of 2025 was the last update. Full 6'd off, all the menus work, there's VR options in there. They put fucking snap turning in there. You know what I mean? Like for
Yeah.
comfort for VR players. And I'm like, bro, this is insane. Like, it's just brilliant. But unfortunately, people have already bought the game. So like VR devs aren't getting that money,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, but anyway, you're not playing any VR games till SteamVR comes out. So we can't play Left 4 Dead together, which I would have suggested. Because
I don't know, we'll see if I can get that, if that driver like actually works as good
that's what it
as
sounds like.
it
I've played Left 4 Dead before in VR. This fucking mate, it is stupidly intense.
Yeah, I bet.
It's
That
crazy.
sounds fun. Man, that sounds fun.
It does sound fun, Brad. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should play. Let me know.
I had to imagine like it would be so tiring to like, because you know you do that hitting the zombies thing to push them back. Like, what if you had to do do this over?
Last time I played it, dude, it was a lot of running and a lot of fucking shooting. That was just like, it was just endless waves of these zombies coming at you. Because that game must be pretty old now. Like,
it's old. Yeah, it should run better now. Yeah.
I think that came. Oh no, it can't be 2004. I want to say I remember playing it when I first had a PC, but I could be lying.
I think Left 4 Dead 2 might have. It had to been before Portal 2, right? I think so.
I reckon so.
Portal 2 was 2012, I think. So
yeah, I am lying then.
I don't know. It's been like more than maybe 15 years old or something like that.
Yeah, I'm talking shit. When did it come out? Let's have a look. 2009.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Yeah, 15 years old.
15 years old, bruv. Cool.
That's crazy.
Right, anyway. Great talking to you. Thank you ever so much as always. Thanks to everyone who's watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers, Brad.
Bye.
Bye.